On weekdays, which is the time frame or the service period which the service expansion will occur, our service hours for the reserve ride presently are from 4 a.m. until 9 a.m. and then we stop service and we begin it again at 3 p.m. and we conclude service approximately at 1 a.m. So there's a break in service. It's interrupted during the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay. And those are the hours we will be expanding to
that's
starting
on weekdays.
On
right.
weekdays.
We're planning to start the service towards the end of August.
Okay.
And there are a couple of reasons why we are aiming to do it at that time. First of all, we want to have an opportunity to improve public awareness of the service. So we are planning on conducting a couple of public hearings at the Senior Citizens Center this summer in advance. It also gives us an opportunity to update our marketing materials. We like to offer service that's documented and easily clarified in writing. And then also we're coordinating the startup with some of our major customers, such as Danville Community College, Middle College, which starts up training activities at the end of August.
Now, yeah, and you talk about that partnership because you have a lot of organizations that partner with you for this Reserve a Ride program. Is that correct?
That's right. And early on this year, we saw a significant deficiency with our Reserve a Ride with a new customer, the West Piedmont Workforce Investment Board. They began purchasing tokens, and we were examining opportunities to serve their customers either using the fixed route service or the reserve ride operation. And what we learned very quickly is that a significant percentage of their customer base who were seeking training at Nordan at the Workforce Career Center were unable to be conveniently served by our fixed route service because of their location proximity to the fixed route service where they live. So we evaluated the ability to use the reserve ride with respect to training activities and found that our reserve ride service hours didn't match up well at all with training and educational opportunities for customers.
So really supporting workforce development with these new hours.
That's the main reason for the need for expanding the service.
And we'll also, with Reserve Ride now, be covering the entire city of Danville.
Right. For the very first time, there will be public access for the general public on weekdays, regardless of where you live within the city limits of Danville. I do want to add, though, that for related to budget constraints, we'll only be able to place 1 or 2 buses in service. Therefore, to make this cost-effective and efficient, persons may be required, as they do now, who seek transportation service to area where, for example, Tel Vista, Swedwood, Unarco, where there is no fixed route service. Many, in some instances, are required to transfer. Likewise, from 9 to 3, there may be a need for requiring passengers to transfer from a reserve ride bus to another reserve ride bus, or from a fixed route bus to a reserve ride bus.
So say I take a reserve ride to work at 8 a.m. Will you come back and pick me up at a certain time? How does that service work?
What you would do is you would call, say, for example, for a morning trip such as 8 a.m., you would call prior day, make a reservation, and say that I would like to be transported to work or for training. For example, to DCC or the Workforce Career Center, I need to get there by 8 a.m. We would log that and then batch all the requests and then plot a route so that we can be as efficient as possible. And we ask that passengers call back to receive their scheduled pickup time. And that's something that's unique about the service. We really encourage that because you may ask for a pickup time, say, of 7:30 to be at work by 8, but we're able to pick you up at 7:45 to get you, or vice versa. You may have to board at 7:15 to get to work by 8. So the times change relative to demand for the service.
Sounds good. And you've the word has really gotten out with the Reserve Ride because you had one of your best months ever recently with the Reserve Ride program.
Yes, through April, overall passenger revenue is up over 8.5%, and what we've seen is that the Reserve Ride service in the last 2 quarters has really improved significantly. In April of this year, we had the best month ever for our Reserve Ride service. We're becoming more efficient, and ridership demand is at a peak.
Well, it's a great service, and it's very inexpensive. What's the cost for?
The fare to be transported basically door to door, if we can, is $3 one way.
Okay.
Bus stop to bus stop is only $2. And what's beneficial about this reserve ride expansion, especially for many of our fixed route passengers who are receiving very infrequent service, like if you live, for example, on Bett Street, there's only a bus that operates every 80 minutes. Well, now, with the expansion plan for in August, you can reserve a ride, be picked up at a bus stop and transported for $2, so you'll be able to have much better frequency of service and more convenient
Very good.
operations.
And I know a lot of people use Reserve a Ride for the concerts at the Carrington, and this year I think will be even more beneficial to them to use Reserve a Ride with the construction that's going on for the parking lot there at the crossing at the dam. Utilize it during the summer concerts and during Friday at the crossings per se.
Exactly. It may be a very good option for many folks
Yeah.
going to the Carrington Pavilion this summer. They are planning to complete construction of the parking lot in July, as I understand it. However, it's uncertain when it will be open up.
Right.
It might be a good option for folks to consider. We can transport you as close as possible and pick you up, and you won't have to walk a great distance to the site.
Well, great service, Mark, and I'm glad to hear we're expanding the service hours. I think it will only increase ridership here in the city of Danville, so I know your riders are looking forward to that, and we are too as well. Now, let's switch gears. We've got a little bit of time left, but I know you've got some projects underway at the Danville Regional Airport we want to discuss, and one of those is a local capital project that we're funding here in the city of Danville, and that's renovations to the Averett Flight Center building. Averett, talk a little bit about Averett's involvement at the Danville Regional Airport with their flight school first, and then what they use this building for that we'll be renovating.
Sure. The Averett University Aeronautics Department has a flight center at the Danville Regional Airport, and it's located adjacent to the terminal. Looks like two large hangars that have a common area in the middle. And they complete a lot of their flight training, ground school training at that site. And Averett University's operations are very, very significant for the Danville Regional Airport, in that they're the major local user of the field as far as total operations being completed year in and year out. And we want to support their efforts to grow and prosper, and their Flight Center building, unfortunately, is in dire need of some renovations, and we're very fortunate that funding was approved to make renovations. We leased the building to Averett University, and first off, when you open the door, you'll notice that there's a need of flooring improvements in the bathroom, and we're hoping to make as many improvements as we possibly can relative to available funding this spring and early summer.
And I know some work taking place on some hangars there on the property as well.
Yes, they have two hangars, one small hangar that the hangar floor is in very bad shape. And curb appeal is important to any customer,
Absolutely.
whether you're a
Right.
student or a business person looking to expand or relocate. And both the common area flooring and the hangar floor requires some extensive work, so we're going to address that this summer.
We've got about 3 minutes left in the show. I know we don't have much time, but I do want to touch on some renovations that are taking place at the primary runway there at the airport. Can you touch on that just a little bit, where we are with that project?
Sure. Several years ago, Danville Regional Airport was in the middle of planning for capital improvements, and we work with the Federal Aviation Administration as well as the Virginia Department of Aviation in planning for funding for capital improvements. And a primary need was to resurface the runway at this time frame, generally about every 20 years. Pavement should be resurfaced, milled and repaved. And the FAA recognized that when this runway was constructed during World War II, that it wasn't designed at that time to meet current airport design standards. Significantly, there's a hump or berm in the middle of the runway, and current design standards require the ability of pilots to be able to see halfway down the runway. And if you were on the north end of the runway near Highway 58 looking to the south, you can only see 1,600 feet, and our runway is 6,500 feet. So one of the main missions of the FAA was to identify related deficiencies associated with the original construction compared to current design standards and correct those deficiencies when we resurface the runway.
Now, where are we all at in that process currently?
The deficiencies have been identified through a master plan update, and we began design services to establish drawings and bid documents to rehabilitate the runway. I really refer to it as a major reconstruction.
Reconstruction.
And at this stage, we're 30% through the design phase.
Right. Now, talk a little bit about, in the little short time that we have left, about the air traffic that we have out at our airport. I know a lot of corporate jets make their way in and out of our city on a daily basis.
Yeah, as part of our recent planning efforts, we've been tracking jet aircraft very closely. And for example, for the first 6 months of this fiscal year, from July through December, we tracked that there were 30 different jet aircraft models that accessed Danville Regional, and those 30 different aircraft arrived at different dates and different times, almost 160 different times. Therefore, we have a jet on the ramp almost once a day on average at Danville Regional, and that's one thing that's very striking when you spend a lot of time at Danville Regional is you better understand that corporations and small businesses are traveling by corporate jet, multi-engine aircraft.
And that's a good point that I wanted to bring up, because a lot of our viewers may not realize the traffic that's really in and out of there on a daily basis.
It's very significant, and it spikes for major tourism events such as at VIR. In April, we had 19 different jets flying to Danville for a 4-day period for the last race in April.
Very good. Well, Mark, we've run out of time. I appreciate you joining us on today's show. You've got a lot going on, so I know you're very busy, so appreciate you taking the time out to join us. And we'll keep updated on these projects and have you on towards the end of the summer, maybe as we head into the fall when some of these projects are completed. We'll head out to the airport and check out some of the renovations.
Great.
And thank you at home for watching. Until next week, have a great day.